All right, welcome to day 9 of the New Testament in a year. It's great to be with you guys. Great to have the Bearded Bible Clan here. And I hope you guys get a chance to enjoy this today. We're going to do chapter 9 of Matthew and a couple of great leadership callouts, as always, from John Maxwell. Let's dig in. Jesus forgives and heals the paralyzed man. Jesus stepped into a boat, crossed over, and came to his own town. Some men brought to him a paralyzed man laying on a mat. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the man, "Take heart, son, your sins are forgiven." At this, some of the teachers of the law said to themselves, "This fellow is blaspheming." Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said, "Why do you entertain evil thoughts in your hearts? Which is easier to say, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up and walk'? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." So he said to the paralyzed man, "Get up, take your mat, and go home." Then the man got up and went home. When the crowd saw this, they were filled with awe, and they praised God who had given such authority to man. The calling of Matthew. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. When Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but the sinners." Jesus questioned about fasting. Then John's disciples came and asked him, "How is it that we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus answered, "How can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he is with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, then they will fast. No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the wineskin will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved." Jesus raises a dead girl and heals a sick woman. While he was saying this, a synagogue leader came and knelt before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her and she will live." Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If only I touch his cloak, I will be healed." Jesus turned and saw her. "Take heart, daughter," he said. "Your faith has healed you." And the woman was healed at that moment. When Jesus entered the synagogue leader's house and saw the noisy crowd and people playing pipes, he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead but asleep." But they laughed at him. After the crowd had been put outside, he went in and took the girl by the hand, and she got up. News of this spread throughout all that region. Jesus heals the blind and the mute. As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, calling out, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." When he had gone indoors, the blind men came to him and asked him, "Do you believe that I am able to do this?" "Yes, Lord," they replied. Then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith, let it be done to you." And their sight was restored. Jesus warned them sternly, "See that no one knows about this." But they went out and spread the news about him all over that region. When they were going out, a man who was demon-possessed and could not talk was brought to Jesus. And when the demon was driven out, the man who had been mute spoke. The crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "It is by the prince of demons that he drives out demons." The workers are few. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. So good. All right, let's get into the John Maxwell callouts. This first one is the law of intuition, Jesus' diagnosis and prescription. This follows Matthew 9:35 through 38. The ultimate leader teaches us about the divine order of capturing and casting a vision. Leaders often err by flitting from vision to vision. Why? Because they fail to take the time to become burdened over a need. Burden always comes first, then vision. Consider the order we see in Jesus' leadership. He saw a need. As Jesus traveled to villages, he saw their needs, verses 35 and 36. He bought a burden. He diagnosed the problem, I need more workers. He caught a vision. He gave a prescription for that burden in verse 38. Leaders remain relevant only as they meet real needs. Consequently, we must pause long enough to observe the need, then feel the tug of the burden. Finally, we must catch a vision that will address the burden. All right, here's the last John Maxwell call out on vision. Now, this is going to take us a little bit into chapter 10. We're not going to read chapter 10 today, but this in reference a little bit of 9, a little bit of 10. Vision, the process toward fulfilling a God-given vision. Jesus teaches us the process of fulfilling a God-given vision. Study this passage and watch for these steps. Number 1, take initiative to obey. Get active in service. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, 9:35. Communicate the truth you have already, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, 9:35. Number 3, observe and understand the reality of the human condition. When he saw the crowds, 9:36. Allow God to burden you with a specific need. He had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. See a divine diagnosis. What is the issue to be resolved? The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few, 9:37. Number 6, pray to determine what action could meet that need. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Number 7, choose a team and empower them for partnership. Jesus called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority, which is 10:1. And then number 8, take immediate action toward the fulfillment of that vision. These 12 Jesus sent out, which is the beginning of chapter 10. So with that, just consider as you're thinking about your leadership in your life, whether you're leading children, you're leading business associates, employees, you have the opportunity to move like Jesus moved in creating a worldwide movement, allowing for forgiveness of sins, salvation, and the ability and the comfort of being able to go to heaven. So you get a chance to communicate that when you act as a biblical leader for others. And that's a constant challenge given our fallen nature as human beings. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today. We'll be back with chapter 10 either tomorrow or the next day. Just keep an eye out, and we'll be back day after day for an entire year getting through the Bible, in at least the New Testament in the John Maxwell Leadership Study Bible. See you soon.